I'm laying on a little bit of lunch for you all because Josh is here and he's very kindly serving burgers and chips for us. So one for Georgie there and one for Marvyn. And on the subject of food, we're asking, is it rude to start eating before everyone else at the table has been served? According to the etiquette experts at Debrett's, you generally shouldn't tuck in until everybody else has their meal and can join in at the same time. But a recent study has shown that most people are fine if other people crack straight on and plough into the food. And Marvyn, I see you haven't wasted any time at all. You didn't even wait for Francine to get her. You were already tucking in. I mean, it's a good time of day to eat a burger and chips, definitely. And I know you don't want to talk with your mouth full, but you may either have to swallow what's in your mouth or talk with your mouth full. What do you think?
In my defence, I'm really hungry. And I actually didn't even look over to make sure that we had equality. But at the same time, it's really good.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Francine, how did you feel? You were the last to be served. Marvin's already halfway through his.
Yeah, I'm always the last to be served. And I do think it's really rude when someone starts eating before everyone else because I am a conscious eater. So say, for instance, if I was on a date and the date I was on started eating before I got my food, I would never see him again because,
you're a harsh woman.
Yeah, because to me, it's really, really rude. Unless I say, oh, don't worry about me, start, yours will get cold. I think if someone was just taking the initiative to just tuck in, I think that's really rude.
What did you say to your children when your son's not taking naked photographs of you? What do you say to him about waiting for other people to be served or not waiting?
Well, I would tell my kids, like, my kids would know to wait unless someone said, go ahead and eat. But if you're in a restaurant like Wagamama's, you know, they serve you at different times. So you kind of, it's a given that you just start. You can't wait for, like, everybody else. Yeah. So you just start. But if you're in a restaurant and you're with a load of people and someone starts eating before you've even got your food, I find that really rude.
Georgie, you put yours down. I see you don't like the look of that burger at all.
I don't really eat meat.
Oh, you don't eat meat? Well, that's a good reason not to eat it then. Excellent.
No, I'm the same.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I don't mind it if someone else starts before me, but then you've just said the thing. If I say the magic phrase of, oh no, get started, it's fine. If not, I would judge them. I'm judging.
People don't really mean that when they say that, right? They're saying it to be polite.
Genuinely, I hold myself to a higher standard, I think, and rudeness is a judgment call. So that's why it's different for different people. You're holding yourself to the standard of the person that you think you are. And I'm not a person that's rude. I like social convention. You know, eating is a social act, especially if you've gone out together. I don't want to, and eating out is expensive. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a meal for one person to eat then, one person to eat then, one person to eat then, especially if food is late or anything like that, really late that it gets cold. No, I am someone that is...
Do you know what's really horrible? It's just like cold food. I think when it comes, especially things like steak, and sometimes you're just being polite, especially if you're in a large group, and everyone hasn't got theirs. There's always one person who has a very specific order.
But that's the fault of the restaurant.
And it takes too long to come out. Or there's changes that they want to have made, and your thing is getting cold, and then you've got to spend like 70 quid on paying for it. I just think
that's the fault of the restaurant, though. They should bring it out together.
I find other ways to be really nice to you.
So if someone didn't say, oh, go ahead and start, you would just start?
Yeah, I think the right thing to do when your food arrives at the correct temperature, you should eat it, and that's what the chef wants for you.
All right, let me give the number one more time. 0207 862 2222. What happens in your house? Maybe it's not about a restaurant at all. It's about serving, for example, Sunday dinner. And does everyone just tuck in? And you know, that I know what used to happen at our house on Friday night. My grandma would serve all the men first because that was the traditional way of doing it. And by the time my grandma was finally ready to sit down and eat the chicken, my grandpa had finished and was on second. I'm not kidding.
Did she get any chicken?
I don't know whether she ever got the chance to eat anything. She was so busy waiting on them. It was men, children, then women, and then grandma, who was then serving the second helpings. And Marion on Facebook says, I was one of 7 children, and our mum had a rule. If there are at least 6 of us at the table, you could start eating whenever you liked, but if there were fewer, you had to wait, which seemed like a really good rule. And Angie says, as a vegetarian, my meal often arrives either much earlier or later than everyone else's, so it's a constant back and forth. Either I'm telling everyone else, start eating without me, or they're telling me to go ahead, start eating. Either way, it's quite uncomfortable, isn't it? Francine?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, like I do generally change my order, so my food is often the last to arrive. So I would say just start. I mean, if I'm just with the kids and my hubby, I would just say start. You know, but if I'm with a load of people, I would find it really rude if someone just started eating without saying, oh, do you mind if I start? You know, yours isn't here. And I would never say, no, don't wait for me. But, you know, I think it's just etiquette.
Okay, am I allowed to just put something else into the conversation?
Go on, yeah.
What about when the people that you're eating with suddenly want to taste some of your food?
Oh, I hate that.
And actually lean over with a fork and just dig it in.
No.
Sometimes without even asking.
Go ahead.
And you just do think. I mean, what do you think?
Germophobic,
right.
So it would. If someone does that to me, I will actually pretend I'm not hungry after that. Or if someone takes a sip out of my drink, that is the worst because I splash back.
I'm the worst for doing it. My other half always laughs at me because I'm his chief taster. He calls me because I'm the first to have a drink of his beer to eat. I'm just checking they're not too hot for him, you know. I know I'm the worst, and yet here's me going, people that eat
but
early.
You wouldn't do it with anyone else, would you?
No, I'm well.
Would you?
No.
Would you take a bite of my burger while I was eating it? Would you do that?
No, but I might look at it in a longing way and go, "Oh, that looks nice."
Suggest it.
Let's go to Jean. Jean's on the line in Essex. Jean, is it terribly bad manners to start eating before everybody else has served their food?
Yes, Vanessa. That was dinned into me as a child. You do not start your food until everybody at the table has been served.
Mm-hmm. And what?
Otherwise, you get some people who hog their food down in 2 seconds.
Yes.
And the last person to be served is still trying to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it looks terrible. And if you're out in a party or you're at a party or you're at a special dinner, you'll find that everybody should start at the same time.
And Jean, what if everybody else says to you, go on, start, don't let it get cold, do eat. Would you then eat or would you still wait because your mother trained you so well?
No, I would still wait because I think it just looks awful. It just looks as though it just looks piggish.
It looks as if you've fallen on the food like the ravening hordes, doesn't it? You're so starving and also greedy. I mean, the word greedy is a word that children are shielded from these days. You never hear anyone say it. But when I was growing up, they'd call you greedy, wouldn't they, Jean, if you did that?
Yes, they would. So, no, it was dinned into me that you do not start eating till everybody's been served. And we weren't posh by any means. We were just told to have manners.
Well, that's it. You don't have to be posh to be beautifully mannered, Jean, and your mother obviously trained you exquisitely. Thank you very much indeed for the lovely phone call.